This is Jay, everyone. Now, some of you may know him, some of you may not. Now, Jay, let me go. I've got my facts here. Now, you've been coming to Discover Church for about 19 weeks. Right, 22nd of Jan. I know these things. 22nd of Jan. 2.5 weeks later, get this, 2.5 weeks later, he's knocking on my door going, I'd like a life group. Sure, come to mine. He hasn't missed one since. 2.5 weeks later, isn't that brilliant? Jay also came to our Discover Passover a little while ago, loved it, found a friend called Shannon. Is he here? He's unwell, okay. And that's my take, he's unwell. He was unwell. Anyway, your story, let me hear a little bit about yours. Tell us about your early days and growing up. I think we might have a photo as well.
Oh, great. I was very blessed in my childhood to have grown up in a very close, loving Christian home. My dad was a Baptist minister, and both my parents served in the church all their lives. And so I was basically at church all the time with my family, and there was so much love and so much support, and I feel like the church was my extended family. But I grew up hearing the good news story of Jesus from all my family, from all the church, people in the church, and have so many stories I'd like to tell. But it was actually 3 years later after this picture was taken that I actually stopped drawing on the bulletin in church and start paying attention to what the pastor was saying. And God became personal to me, and I started praying on my own. And for many Sundays, I kept feeling this pull in my heart that I want to follow. And so one service, I just got up to the front and prayed with the pastor, and I was later baptized. And so while I was living at home, I was growing. I was in choir. I was in church musicals. I was so active, and I give it all of it to my family and my parents for their guidance. But I didn't really learn commitment. I didn't really learn to do it on my own, right? So it soon changed.
Well, I know you're really committed now because he hasn't missed a life group. So what happened between the early days and before now? What happened in those in-between years?
Yeah. So when I moved out of my own with this newfound freedom, I just wanted to do my own thing, and I started to believe the biggest lie, which was that I didn't need church, and I felt like I just do it on my own. So I started just doing everything in life and just pursuing my own dreams and trying to do everything. And I had super courage, but I had no follow-through in my life. And so it was a time of non-commitment to anybody and anything, and it was a mess. And so I kept trying to get it right, but it just wasn't working. And I wasn't committed to anybody and anything, and not committed to God, and I wasn't growing in my spiritual walk. Yeah.
All right, so how did God turn this non-committal, stunted life around that we now see here before us?
Well, when I moved to Australia, and one of my other daring adventures and founding my wonderful wife, she has really helped me and supported me. Her family has been so supportive that I started to learn to stick with things, started to really learn to commit, and they really supported me in my life. And so I started to be more a person who follows through. And things are going really good. So I was sticking with my jobs. I'd got an education, and I was staying married 14 years now. So I was really, really happy. And but it all changed in 2019. I really experienced some hard times. So in 2019, my father passed away. And I really wanted to be back home with family, but at the time I couldn't. And so through COVID, through restrictions, became very depressed and isolated. And then 2020, my mother passed away. And so, I still wanted to be with family and still wanted to be there, but I couldn't. So there we are now. If you can see the picture, that's what we looked like 6 years ago. So I'm just going to go through them real quick. So that's my dad, Jerry, and Paula, and then up the top, starting with me on the left, and then that's Rhonda, Pam, and Ricky, who all love him very much. So through COVID and through this experience of loss of my parents, I was really depressed, and life seemed really bleak. And so all this kind of was coming up to head in my life. And so I can't really explain what happened next, except that one night I had a real fright in my sleep, and I thought I was having a heart attack, and I was really scared. And being scared, I started having panic attacks. And I was really scared. I thought I was dying. Now, it turns out the doctor said that I wasn't dying, but it was real enough to me, and I think it really shook me, and I think it was God just trying to reach out and get my attention. And so through this fear, I just thought about what I believe. It's like, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me if this is it? This is in my life. So I prayed, and I felt so much love, and I felt so much peace in my life. And I started to remember all those times I actually knew God in my life and love, and knew that experience of love. And I felt a sadness of all the times I haven't been walking with Jesus. And I just prayed. I said, Lord, change me. I don't want to walk on my own. I want to walk with you. And so I knew I needed to grow. I knew I couldn't do this on my own, and I needed church. I needed church to help me to grow, because I needed to go to Him ongoing, not just once in a while, ongoing. So I was determined to find a group that could help me, and so I started looking for churches. And when I came here, it was like I came to an extended family of people I already knew. It was just lovely people, and so I thank all of you.
There you are. Fantastic. Give them a round of applause.